Some dope addicts are here.
My.
You're?
I'm not sure that I've ever heard that.
Really?
Oh, you have.
I always like it, Gina, when you tell me what I have or have not.
I know you have because we've played it before.
Not that I recall. It does not bring back any recollection to me. So maybe I've heard it, but it doesn't bring back any recollection.
It's hard to forget the Biz Marquee.
I'm puzzled as to why we didn't play something by Grand Funk Railroad.
What?
It's Mel Schracher's birthday. He was the player in the Grand Funk Railroad. I lived the first apartment I ever lived in. The couple who lived on the thin wall next to me in the next apartment would play Grand Funk Railroad.
They were all about the Grand Funk.
And make love all the time.
That was their love
all the time.
music.
I'm getting closer to my home. Yes!
That was their music.
Yeah. And it's a we certainly don't need to play an Asia song.
Heat of the moment, come on.
Because it's Steve Howe's birthday. And Adam Woods of The Fix, it's his birthday today.
Well, we could have done that.
Julian Lennon's birthday.
It was discussed.
Does Julian Lennon, has he really ever... Can you think...
Much too late for goodbye. Because it's
Wasn't he touring with Primus
Oh,
recently?
goodbye.
I don't know.
I think he was.
A Slipknot's birthday.
Yeah.
But because...
On this day.
Biz Marquee, he's 55 today.
I quite like that. Is it all? I'm liking it less the more you do that. Is that representative of his
yes,
stuff? He always kind of
has
does
his
that
own style.
kind of out of tune, kind of yell singing. Because I really quite like it.
And Julian Lennon, he sounds a lot like his dad.
Yeah, he looks like him too.
He's 56.
Yeah.
Julian? Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Yeah, there you go.
This isn't
Oh my
Julian
God.
Lennon.
No.
This was sexy time music.
It's the Grand Funk. Bringing it all back, man. I'm 19, 20 years old.
Okay.
I'm living in a shabby apartment with my friend Scott. Piles of cigarette butts dumping out the ashtrays. A turtle living under the bed.
A turtle?
A big tortoise, yeah. And an orange kitchen. Yeah, and then they start at it, banging against the wall.
No, don't, please don't.
Listen, you sing.
That's not the same.
It's worse than what I was just doing. They go,
No.
we're an American band.
No. Nobody needed to hear that.
Yeah, that was...
My exposure to Grand Funk Railroad was more by accident.
Well, it was sort of an accident. I didn't really want to hear it.
We were we were in the record club where they would send you a record if you didn't tell them, don't send me a record.
The Columbia House Record Club.
A penny.
Exactly. And we forgot to send them the letter, don't send us a record. And so here comes Grand Funk in 8-track. Grand Funk Railroad.
You had an 8-track?
Yeah, so well, we've got it. I'll listen to it.
I suppose.
Yeah. They're an American band.
Yeah, with Sean Lennon. Sean Lennon is the one touring with Les Claypool, not Julian. Sean Lennon. Okay.
So
Yoko's his mom.
Yeah.
And he's the talented one out of he and Julian.
Sean or Julian?
I think Sean.
I don't know. I thought Julian did fine.
Neither one of them have done a tremendous amount of stuff.
Well, I mean, if you think about it,
how
do you?
Your dad's John Lennon.
Yeah.
How do you even attempt to?
Yeah.
It's like when Lisa Marie Presley decided she wanted to be a singer.
Yeah.
It's like even if she's sort of good,
yeah, you're still you're Elvis's kid, and you'll never be as good.
Just don't.
Yeah.
That's what I say too.
Which is why all the Hank Williamses, they have their own style. They didn't try to do what their dad did.
Hank Jr., sort of country rock.
And Junior.
And Junior, and then the third. Hank Williams III, he's a drugged out rocker, I guess.
He was kind of an
alternative drugged out,
Yeah.
He has problems.
Like all the Williams boys.
Well, he and Shooter Jennings, the two of them. As Hank is made some of he kind of faded out when after the football controversy. When
Hank
he
Jr.?
Yeah, Hank Williams Jr. When he made some
Bocephus?
Yeah, he made all racist comments. And
Yeah.
they took him off Monday Night Football and
I think
all of that.
Yeah, I think they
But
brought him
he's-
back.
He's
didn't they?
kind of. I think he's made a comeback.
Well, I
yeah.
think
I'm sure.
he's all MAGA.
Well, yeah, that's your audience. You know, Ted Nugent would have disappeared long ago if it wasn't for Mr. Hannity and the whole thing.
Ted's on tour, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right.
go into that. Well, I guess we ought to officially begin the program.
I suppose.
We can do that. I'll come back, and I've got something for you, Gina, which confirms your worst nightmares,
Great.
and something that you will also feel vindicated about.
Oh, okay.
Because
I know the
see,
story. I know the story you're
You
going to talk
think?
about. Yeah.
Because see, I told you.
Exactly.
I knew.
Because I read that and I went, here we go.
Oh, I can't wait.
So when we come back from the break, I'll lay that on you.
All right.
Something for you to beware of, but something that also you will say, you see, I told you all along.
Will I want to clean my carpets after it happens?
I don't know if I want to associate a fine client like Zero Res with this sort of
I
thing.
don't know what
Yeah.
it is. I
Gina,
mean,
you always want to clean your carpets.
I do. And my tile, and my countertops, and my upholstery.
Zero Res right now, it's spring cleaning time, and this is the month of Arbor Day. And Earth Month, I think, is this month as well. And so Zero Res has partnered with the Arbor Day Foundation. They're partnering to set up and plant 1,000 trees this month. One tree for every customer who purchases who schedules a carpet cleaning this month. So, and that it doesn't need, just it's a feel-good thing to do. And,
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, plant a tree. Zero Res is they don't use any harsh chemicals or anything like that in their cleaning, and so it smells good. And it's environmentally friendly, and it dries faster.
fast, yeah.
And they're very nice when they come to your house. They're very courteous and pleasant, and they get the job done in record time.
And I predict that if you have them visit once, you'll see how they do things differently, and you'll become a regular customer. I
Right.
think.
So for carpets or tile or things like that, schedule your cleaning during April Earth Month and pay $33 per room. Minimum supply. Call them 801-2880, that's ZERO, or click zerores.com. Good for you.
100-day-old meat.
Good for you.
We
Didn't
went-
even give you any pause at all.
Well, no, because there was lots of wine before it happened. So we went to, and I never know how to say it. It's either Veneto or
How do
Veneto.
you spell it?
Veneto.
Veneto.
But I think it,
you're
but I think
you're
it might be
Italian. You should
Veneto.
No, it's
I don't-
Veneto. Veneto.
and Joe said it's the best meal he's ever eaten in Salt Lake, and he's eaten a lot of good meals.
Without-
It's mostly lost on me because cheese, and I'm dumb. But the owner Marco came out and he said, "I want to give you this 100-day aged T-bone. As the New York strip on one side and the filet on the other, and it's so big the whole table can share it."
Wow.
And he brought it out to the table, like before he cooked it, just to show us.
Raw meat right here.
Yeah. And it looked like you just pulled it out of the meat counter. It was red, and when he's telling me it's 100 days old, and then he showed us a piece of what he cut off the top of it,
And
which was like 2 inches of
what?
like green and white.
Where did he have that in his pocket?
No,
Did
was
he pull
just-
it out of his
He
pocket?
was just holding it all together. Whatever the rind it creates on it after you leave it out.
Okay.
I wanted you. I'm telling you this so you guys
You're
will be
looking
proud
for
of me.
a pat on the back?
Yes. And he's like, "Now I'm going to go back and cook it."
Come
But
here,
I
come
just show.
There you go. All right.
So she
I totally ate it.
She's looking for a pat on the back for eating a $50 steak.
It was more than that.
It was. She's looking for a pat on the back
But 4 people shared
eating-
it. 4 people shared
for
it.
eating a $100 steak.
And
It was. I've never tasted anything like it.
she was that good.
It
You're,
And it's not it's not even like it was steak. It was like it was a whole other
A whole other level of
thing.
you're looking for a pat on the back for leading a privileged lifestyle.
we
Well,
were-
way to go.
We were 4 people that shared this one steak. It was we all just had little bits of it, but
You way to go, 1%er.
Utah's original alternative X96.
620.
It is time then
Yes.
to begin the show.
start small, save big. Open a 60-month certificate of deposit at Cyprus Credit Union. Receive 3.65% APY with rates this great. There's never been a better time to start saving. Stop by or visit cypruscu.com.
The moon is on its way to full. It's just showing about 10.1% of its silverness as it rises in the sky today at 9:08 a.m. Today being Monday, the 8th day of April in the year of our Lord 2019. And you're listening to the radio show that's made with 100% premium beef. No artificial flavors, colors, or byproducts. It's the Radio from Hell show, starring the lords of morning radio, Kerry Jackson, Bill Allred, and Gina Barberi. The interim producer of the Radio from Hell show is Katie for short. There's somebody helping out today.
Chase.
By the way, there's a guy wandering around out in the cafeteria. He's a tall guy with a little goatee, and he said, and he came up and asked me for a hearty handshake. And so be on the lookout for him, you guys.
Was that actually Chase that did that? No?
Wait a minute. Let me.
I think that was
Was that him?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
him.
Guy with the
it's
beard?
him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You
him.
haven't officially met him still.
Well, I guess I have now. He came up and stuck his hand in my face. I just sort of shook it and ran away because he's tall for one thing. I didn't know who he was. Well, no, he's a very nice guy. He's cute, isn't he?
He is cute.
Yeah, especially for a tall guy.
Are tall guys usually not cute?
Well, it's usually the
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I can't see that high usually,
Way high.
but his cuteness, shines through. Now I have something for you here, Gina.
Okay.
That will perhaps, you'll say I knew it, but it'll make you feel really nervous.
Okay.
You've tried the Airbnb experience.
Yes.
It's where you go to some other destination on vacation, and rather than renting a hotel or a motel, you actually rent someone's house.
Yes.
Something that they sometimes live in themselves.
I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah, so have I. And I really like it. But Airbnbs have changed the way we vacation, offering accommodation that adds a whole new dimension to travel.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that added dimension, that extra dimension, is delightful. A nice place to crash in a cool neighborhood.
Oh yeah, we got a high-rise condo in Busan, in Korea, that overlooked the ocean, and it was fabulous.
And the, kitchen and place where you
Yeah.
can cook your own meals and stuff like that. However,
Uh-oh.
there have been a few incidents where the extra dimension is downright creepy. In the most recent, a family from New Zealand discovered a hidden camera live streaming from a property that they were renting in Cork, Ireland.
I knew it.
That follows claims of several other secret camera discoveries, which were reported last month by Atlantic Magazine, secret recordings in Airbnbs. Now, these are likely isolated incidents, it says.
No, it's everywhere.
But Airbnb says they've taken action, investigated, they apologize where appropriate. Airbnb insists negative experiences like this are very rare. It's because people don't find the camera.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't know it was there.
So
Does it say where the cameras were hidden? Because we need to know these things.
there is. It says how can you combat this? Well, flashlights like the one on your smartphone can be used to pick up reflections from camera lenses. Tech experts advise turning off all the lights and shining a flashlight around the area to search for a lens. Okay, so remember to do that, Gina.
Okay, wait, let me write that down.
So you'll have to wait till you get there at night. Maybe you'll be filmed for a little while, but when it when it gets night, any gadgets that look abnormal should be targeted. Alarm clocks and smoke detectors are potential hiding places. Okay, so you already know this.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
Assuming the camera has some form of lens, you use a device that has a very bright light, and it will reflect, and you'll see the lens of the camera.
This is
It's
good.
all- it's
Because
also-
we're renting an Airbnb for when we go to California this summer, so this is good.
It's also possible to install apps on your phone that can scan for hidden cameras.
Really?
Yeah, there are various apps available that will scan for hidden
Hey,
cameras.
I'm writing that down.
Get that app.
Or you could buy a radio frequency scanner. Because if it transmits RF, then you can, use...
It'll pick that
It'll
up.
pick it up, and you'll say,
These are all important.
Internet cameras need a data connection to store or stream their footage. So cameras may be connected to your Airbnb's host network, the same Wi-Fi that you've been allowed to connect to. As for free.
Because, see, how easy would it be? Because you own that house.
Yeah.
Sure.
You can do whatever you want before people show up.
Yeah, it takes people a while perhaps, but then they realize, hey, you know what? We can watch the people that are renting our place, just to make sure that
They don't steal
they don't
anything.
break anything
Yeah.
or steal anything or cause any damage.
That's why.
We said that there were no pets. Let's make sure that there are no pets.
And that's the excuse they
That's the
use.
excuse. You say, I was just monitoring Well,
I was just making sure that they weren't partying too hard.
Yeah.
I was just checking to make sure
He
that
said
they
no
were using.
guests and
I was just checking to make sure that they were using the bidet correctly in the bathroom. That's the only thing I was doing. So, with no way of knowing in advance whether any room, hotel, or Airbnb is being spied on, you should. It says here, just hope for the best.
well, no, that's not good enough.
That's not good enough.
Well, they give you all of these ways to check, but then they say they're still, if they really want to do it,
Sure.
they can do it and get away with it. So.
Well, Gina, there you go.
Thank you. I'm vindicated.
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
are.
I just assume everybody's watching me all the time, and I don't care.
And you don't care.
No, I mean, I can't care about it, just whatever.
All right.
You really want to watch this undressed?
Yeah.
That's
luck.
up to you, baby.
Okay, we have a vehicle on fire northbound I-15 just north of Center Street in Orem. The right lane is closed there. But it's an exciting thing, but that's the only thing being reported so far. I see green cameras all along the Wasatch Front, but if you see something and you're not being dumb and texting and driving, you can let us know. 33986. Announcing the Excellence in the Community Concert Series Wednesdays from 7 to 9 at the Gallivan Center. Enjoy free concerts from some of Utah's most talented musicians. Dancing is encouraged. Learn more at excellenceconcerts.org.
All right. Amy Donaldson has sports coming up. Big boy news as well on the way. Stand by for all of that. Round one of your boners coming up. Talking TV with Bill Frost, all on the way. Quip is the name of the electric toothbrush that everybody is talking about. GetQuip.com/X96 is where you'll go to get this deal I'm about to tell you about. And I think that they have a line of children's quips. And
I still haven't got those for my kids. I need to. I think.
it's the perfect way to get them to learn to brush properly with the timer and the vibration and everything on there. The 2-minute timer pulses every 30 seconds to remind you when to switch sides, and so it helps you get a full, even clean. Because I'm telling you right now, when the kids go in and I brushed. Yeah, you didn't
You
brush.
were in there for 30 seconds.
Yeah, you didn't brush thoroughly. And I think even a lot of adults don't brush as much as they should for the full 2 minutes. It's one of the many reasons that I love Quip and why they're backed by over 20,000 dental professionals. I used my Quip just this morning. Quip starts at just $25. If you go to getquip.com/X96 right now, you get your first refill pack for free. That's the brush heads that they come with a Quip electric toothbrush. That's your first refill pack for free at getquip.com/X96. You got to do that /X96 to make sure that you get the deal and that we get the credit. This is the Tribune article?
Yeah, this guy calls me. And that's why, I don't know what Richie expected. He calls me. He asks for some quotes. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, is see if he got the quotes right.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you always do? If you're being quoted
I don't
want
to be misquoted.
No.
I might come off looking stupid.
I'm just concerned my name's spelled right.
It is. And I was quoted correctly. I don't know about you, because you haven't looked yet.
I was rambling. I was doing my dishes when he called, so I had him on my jawbone,
I was...
You in the
around the
bathroom?
kitchen.
No, I
doing
was
dishes.
at Liberty Park, putting my kids on the Ferris wheel and the little all the little death trap rides that are over there at Liberty Park. The little injury-inducing ride.
All
I
red.
cut myself on this.
Really?
Allred, in referencing his 5,000th episode on the Radio from Hell program, was quoted as saying, "You little jerk, get on that ride!"
You're bringing the little jerks tonight, right?
But the quote, this dawned on me. This was, I think one of the more brilliant observations I've ever had. The reporter from the Salt Lake Tribune asked me, so why do you think your show has been on so long? Why has it lasted 5,000 episodes when other morning shows and radio shows have come and gone? Some appear and go quickly, some are there for a while, but they disappear. Why have you guys lasted 5,000 episodes? And I said, well, it seems pretty simple to me. It's because nobody ever fired us. Really? I mean, isn't that he kind of paused and he said, well, I guess that is true, isn't it?
Well, but we were
Doesn't
fired.
mean it's good. We just weren't fired.
We were fired once.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess we were fired once.
Yeah.
No, you weren't fired. You could have stayed. You two could have kept doing the show.
No, he was told he would be fired if he didn't sign the contract.
That's what I mean. If you had signed the contract,
I was fired. I was fired because I wanted to be fired. I
That's
don't
different.
count. I don't
That's
count that as really being fired. I was fired because I really, really wanted to be fired in the long run. I wasn't going to
you
sign.
could have kept your job if you wanted.
Yeah.
You signed the contract. You keep your job.
I wasn't going to sign a contract with those people, and I said to myself, if they fire me, I'll get unemployment. So yeah, that's what I want. I wanted to be fired.
So you were fired.
Yeah, but nobody's ever really fired.
Like I said,
fired
you
us.
suck. I don't want you to work here anymore. Get out.
Technically, I've been fired. You were never fired.
I've been fired many, many times. Oh, you mean from that
Not
job?
from this show.
Yeah,
But not
from
from
this
this
show.
show.
From the show. You've never been fired from the show.
Not from this show, no.
No,
Well, that's where it matters.
no. Never been fired from the show. And I was fired kind of by design, so I don't count that.
Utah's original alternative X96.
All right, we got Amy Donaldson with sports coming up in about 10 minutes. So before that, a reasonable amount of news brought to you by
Bonanza Campout returns this June to River's Edge with DJ Snake, G-Eazy, Empire of the Sun, Chromeo, Black Bear, Machine Gun Kelly. He was Tommy Lee in
Oh, he was?
in The Dirt. I got the book, by the way.
Oh, finally arrived, did it? Good for you.
It's an all-ages show. Tickets and camping are on sale now at bonanzacampout.com.
Well, here in this room anyway, we've been eagerly anticipating Deadwood,
Yes.
the movie, coming back on HBO. And I think there were enough Deadwood fans, although as I was reading this story, I was 10 years ago? Is it that long?
Yeah.
Has it been that
Been a
long?
while.
Wow.
The Deadwood on HBO with Ian McShane and Timothy Oliphant and a cast of wonderful supporting characters. That I think it ran 2 seasons on HBO.
Is that all it was? Just
I want to say 3.
Maybe
but
3.
yeah.
But we loved it, and then it just kind of ended. And
just great writing.
yeah,
Just-
and great performances. And so the movie, well, they've been working on it. It's not due out until May 31st, but Ian McShane, Al Swearingen, has seen a cut of it, and he says, I think it's pretty good. The show came to an abrupt close on HBO 12 years ago, actually. Yeah, there were 3 seasons. Soon after that, word got out about the plans to make 2 films to be broadcast on TV in place of a 4th season, but that never panned out because it did sort of end without things being
Resolved.
But there have been rumblings about a Deadwood movie, and that continued until finally production did begin last year. And we found out HBO was going big. A significant amount of the cast was returning, including Ian McShane as Al Swearingen, Timothy Oliphant as Seth Bullock, Molly Parker playing the Madam of the Whorehouse. Paula Malcolmson as Trixie. John Hawkes as Saul Starr. Anna Gunn is back. Remember, she played Bryan Cranston's wife in
Oh yeah, she
Breaking
was on that
Bad.
show.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
She was the wife. She was Timothy Oliphant. So Timothy Oliphant, his brother died, and he married his widow, and she was the widow.
and that was
In
always
real life.
No.
on the show.
No, I mean,
On the show.
yeah,
And it was always
Oh,
that
that's right, yeah.
awkward
yeah,
relationship.
because they weren't in love really, but he married her out of a sense of duty to take care of her and her son.
So at any rate, catching up with Ian McShane for the release of Hellboy. He's in everything now, by the way. They asked him about Deadwood. He said, I've seen a cut of it the other day. Tim and I had a few comments about it, but I think it's going to be okay.
Okay?
It's good. Again, if it's, don't expect an episodic piece. It's difficult when you got to make a 2-hour movie about how to wrap up, an episodic show. But apparently the thing is set in Deadwood is the state is they've become a state now. What is that? North Dakota, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
Wherever Deadwood was.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're going to become a state, and Seth and Al's still there, and Seth Bullock comes back for the celebration.
Jimmy Martin interviewed Ian McShane on the whole Hellboy thing.
Yeah.
So we've got all the stars of Hellboy on Geek Show podcast right now. And one of the things that Jimmy did ask him that's not in the interview, he says, well, because of Al Swearingen, this word is my favorite swear word now. Mm-hmm. And he told him,
Yeah.
he says, what's your favorite swear word? And Ian McShane said, well, you Americans are really uncomfortable with this word, but back home we use it for just about everything.
Yeah. I know the one he means.
I knew Karen told me this, and I said the same thing. I know exactly what you're talking about, sir.
He was in a room full of people, so he didn't, say it. But
Yeah, it's not nearly as offensive to Britons as it is to women, particularly here. Tragedy. He was one of a kind. He was an original. He will be missed. Dan Robbins.
Who's Dan Robbins?
Well, Dan Robbins was no Leonardo da Vinci,
That I'll say.
but I don't know if we have a picture of him.
Okay.
He copied one of the master's basic techniques and thereby enabled children to grow up believing that they too could paint the Last Supper. He invented paint by the numbers.
When I was a kid, I loved paint by
Do you have that
Yes.
picture of him? That
No,
that was,
no.
Get it.
He d-
It's a great paint by the numbers portrait of him. At any rate, but he wasn't an artist at all. He was an advertising man and a package designer.
and he just came up with that, huh?
Well, the reason he came up with it is because a paint company said, "You help me figure out a way to sell more paint."
That's a brilliant way to sell more paint, because I'm not a painter, but I
Worked
can
on
do
us.
the paint. I can do
Paint-
the paint by numbers.
Paint by the numbers kits. Young baby boomers in the 50s and 60s followed the same mechanics as Renaissance artisans. He got the idea from Leonardo da Vinci because da Vinci would sketch in figures in his paintings, and he would paint the major part of it, but he would have his assistants paint lots of it, and then he would pull it all together. But so he had this kind of
Here, I want this
this
here
assembly.
and that
yeah.
there. and-
Yeah. Paint, put this color here and that color there. And anyway, if we get a chance, maybe we'll show that picture of him later on. It's pretty cool. Well, the Mormon Church got to get, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the religion that we used to know as Mormons. Some of us old-timers remember
I don't-
Old-timers a year ago?
they called themselves Mormons.
I don't know
and-
what you're talking about.
and we called the Mormons, and they had this big choir that they called the Mormon Tabernacle
No
Choir.
idea.
Remember that?
None of this.
They had a
I don't-
website, Mormon.org.
Yeah, well,
I am Mormon,
Next
a
thing-
whole promotional.
Next thing you're going to tell me that they had their scripture was called the Book of Mormon.
no.
So you're going to tell me that?
No.
Well, it's,
No, that never
it's-
happened.
Well, they now they had their big conference, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, formerly the Mormons, and attendees streamed out of the conference center on Saturday, where they heard messages from religious leaders, and then they were confronted in the street with messages that Joseph Smith and things he taught are lies and contrary to God's word. One of the people who confronted them with that, I wish I'd seen this, is a man who said he's Satan. And now they
Satan was here?
they're just showing him in this picture from the Salt Lake Tribune from the back. But
Well.
he's wearing a red cape, and it says
That's
to me,
him. That's him.
and it says to me, hopefully, that this guy was all done up like Satan, like on Saturday Night Live Satan. You know, with the red, with the horns,
With the pitchfort
Yeah.
and-
Bill, why done up? That was him. He wasn't done up.
Gina, it wasn't him, because the man who is depicting Satan, and police say he's no stranger, he does this quite often. He carries a tape recorder, a small little device that makes spooky wind noises to enhance his presence as the Prince of Darkness.
Wow.
Hi, my name is Satan, he says.
Worship me.
Yeah.
So what's the point of protesting? Just don't choose to be that religion. Why do you have to stand out in front of their thing? And
Because
that doesn't.
because your God is right, and theirs
Then
is
have your right God in your own house.
Gina,
And
Gina,
why go stand?
You are trying to talk. You are trying to talk logic about people who believe religions. Don't try that.
I just.
Police found a woman walking the streets of Provo. She had bloody feet and a bottle of mouthwash.
What?
According to arrest records, she was drinking mouthwash to get drunk. She had called her boyfriend to pick her up so they could go to Provo Canyon and talk. Once they did that, she got angry and started kicking out the front window of his car.
Oh,
Her
geez.
boyfriend drove her to her parents' house, where records say she started kicking the car windows again. She wasn't allowed into the house. Her parents said, "You're not coming in here."
You're out of control.
Yeah.
And
So officers found her with a bottle of mouthwash. She admitted that she was drinking it. The officer said she acted like she was drunk. And also she said, well, if you're going to arrest me, could I please smoke a bowl of marijuana before you take me to jail?
that's the least you could do.
Yeah,
is let
exactly.
me.
Please. Kirsten Nielsen is resigning as the head of Homeland Security. She resigned Sunday.
Is she going to make
after-
sure all those babies in cages
No.
get let out before she goes?
Well, they're working
She's-
on that, Gina.
They
2
are?
years. 2 years they say it might take to reunite. She says,
That's
I have
evil.
determined.
I'm sorry, it's evil.
I have determined that it is the right time for me to step aside. I hope that the next secretary will have the support of Congress and the courts in fixing the laws which have impeded our ability to fully secure American borders, which have contributed to discord in our nation's discourse. She, by the way, she had some inkling that she was about to be fired anyway.
Well, she just wasn't cruel enough, I think.
I think that's what it was.
And,
Well, he wanted to close the board, and he wanted to say, "We can't. We're not offering asylum to anybody
Well, it's
else."
because
and,
we're full.
and people are like, "Sir,
No
you
vacancy.
can't do that. The law is."
Yeah.
Well, I don't care. I don't.
No vacancy. That's what it says.
And Michael Chase said it best. He says, he's trying to say that the country's full. Has anyone been to Wyoming?
There's plenty of room.
And the Democratic presidential hopeful Pete Buttigieg,
Who did judge?
Buttigieg,
yeah.
Is that how you say it?
yeah,
Okay.
he's the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and a 2020 presidential hopeful, took a jab at Vice President Pence on Sunday while noting that his marriage to his husband Chasten, that's Buttigieg's marriage, to his husband Chasten, moved him closer to God. Buttigieg, during a speech at an LGBTQ Victory Fund's annual brunch in Washington, said marrying Chasten Glesman made him a better human being. It has made me more compassionate, more understanding, more self-aware, and more decent. My marriage to Chasten has made me a better man. And yes, Mr. Vice President, it has moved me closer to God. He also said in his speech that I can tell you, and he was addressing the Vice President, I can tell you that if me being gay was a choice, it was a choice that was made far above my pay grade. And the thing I would wish Mike Pence's of the world would understand, if you've got a problem with either who I am, if you've got a problem with who I am as a gay man, your problem is not with me. Your problem, your quarrel is with my creator, not me.
Because he made me this
Because
way.
he made me this way. I didn't choose to be this way. This is how I was born. This guy he's quite remarkable.
I like him a lot.
I do too. And he's showing a lot of traction, actually, as people get to know him a little bit more. And apparently the people of South Bend, Indiana, adore him.
I mean, I think he gets a lot of attention because he's gay. Like initially, that's what people go, oh. But then you listen to what he has to say about stuff that doesn't have anything to do with him being gay, just his policy ideas and stuff. He's got a lot of really good ideas.
He is, by the way, a Navy veteran. He was deployed to Afghanistan in 2014, and he also used his speech on Sunday to lash out at Donald Trump over his efforts to ban transgender troops from the military. The struggle is not over when transgender troops ready to put their lives on the line for this country have their careers threatened with with ruin over tweet. Have their careers threatened with ruin one tweet at a time. Oh, I see.
Have their careers threatened with ruin.
Yeah,
one tweet at a time.
It's not punctuated correctly here. So, by the commander-in-chief, who himself pretended to be disabled to get out of serving when it was his turn with bone. I have bone spurs. I couldn't go. Anyway, he's great. Let's see. Is that it?
Yeah. Weather, traffic.
Brought to you by Hoops Vision. Make sure nothing gets between you and your life focus, exceeding expectations in every way. Hoops Vision is Utah's leader in laser vision correction. Call 877-30-LASIK or hoopsvision.com. So today will be beautiful, really warm. We could get up to 71 for a high.
Really?
Yeah, but that's today.
Oh.
And then tomorrow we go from 71 today to 58 tomorrow.
Okay, good. I just bought a new light jacket. I was hoping to get some wear in before before it warmed up.
With rain and actually Wednesday we could get snow down here in the valley.
All right.
So enjoy. Today is your outside day, so go outside. Vehicle on fire northbound I-15 just north of Center Street in Orem. The right lane is closed. That's the only issue, though. I haven't seen anything on the UDOT website, and nobody has texted us anything at 33986. Although if you see something and you're not driving and it's safe for you to send us the information, we'd love to see it.
All right. Is sports sponsored?
When it comes to mortgage lending, call Rick at Vintage Lending. Where else are you going to go? 16 years experience. Call Rick 801-809-SAVE or go to loansbyrick.com.
Amy Donaldson Sports. Break.
Well, here she is, Amy Donaldson. She writes sports columns and other columns.
No
longer doing that.
Nope.
So
No longer.
I'm not going to find you at DeseretNews.com.
You can find me at DeseretNews.com, but I no longer get to do my column. So working on a new incarnation of that. But yeah, so.
Okay.
But you can listen to my podcast, Voices of Reason, KSL on KSL Radio app, or you can find me on Twitter at 80 on Sports.
All right.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that other thing you mentioned.
My podcast?
You've
You've been on my podcast.
No apps and from some place.
Well, you can find it on iTunes or Google.
There you go.
There we go.
You're
I've heard
familiar
of
with that, right?
I've
heard of those.
Or you can just wait for me to tweet it out.
Tweet
Which seems to be the most popular option.
So you weren't here last week because you were running 100 miles and saving animals.
No, I was not running 100 miles. I lost my best friend last week.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My Lucy. 16 years. So,
16 years. Wow.
Yeah. So I might be depressed for a really long time.
You're
It was a
right.
bad week for me.
This
so.
is an animal we're talking about.
Yes, this is my dog, my healer. She's the reason I started running a million miles because she chewed my entire house. Every pair of shoes, all the baseboards in our house, all of our furniture. Nothing I did. Training classes worked. So
You got to run
the
it
vet
out.
pointed out that she might want to get outside and get some exercise. And since then, I have decided that is a cure to every issue. Get some exercise.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in trouble.
My kids still argue with me, but but that's why my husband filled in for me. He was being considerate, and he loves doing it. I told him we should take turns.
Yeah,
we
we love seeing
should
both
trade
of you.
off because he definitely has a different approach.
Yeah, he's kind of comprehensive.
Yeah, he has his favorites. I have mine. And one of my favorites is going to be the women's NCAA championship game this weekend. Baylor upset Notre Dame in a thrilling final, 82-81. Notre Dame rallies. They're the defending champions. They rally from a 14-point deficit to tie the game with just seconds left. Chloe Jackson makes a layup to put Baylor up by 2. And then last year, those of you who watched the women's game will remember, Arike Ogunbowale, she hit a three-pointer to win the national championship for Notre Dame last year. This year, she gets fouled with 1.9 seconds left, has to make 2 free throws to tie the game, misses the first one, attempts to miss the second one and makes it, and the game ends, and they suffer heartbreak. You should know those Notre Dame starters, and there's some really great videos if you're a fan of women's sports or if you want to be, you should really Google or look on Twitter for Muffet McGraw's statements about why we need women.
Oh, I watched that this
role models.
morning.
That's the coach.
So good.
She's so great, and she's just been an amazing, light for women leadership this last week. But the 5 Notre Dame starters that they lose have combined for 10,230 career points, the most in Division I history, men's or women's. And there's a really great article at x96.com that I sent you this morning. So
Okay.
that will all get us prepared for the men's national championship game, which is tonight. I think it starts at the time they listed was 7:20, so I think it must be
Let me see.
5:20 here. I
find
don't
out.
know. I never know if that automatically switches the time zones. or-
7:20.
Is it 7? So it's late. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that could not be right, but I was wrong. Virginia beat Auburn 63-62. Another super thrilling game. Texas Tech beat Michigan State 61-51. So no Tom Izzo meltdowns for the finals. That means that tonight's game, 2 teams who've never been in the national championship. Last time that happened, 40 years ago, when Magic Johnson's Michigan State beat Larry Bird's Indiana State. 40 years ago. So
Who do you predict?
well, I hope Virginia wins. So,
You hope Virginia wins.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Virginia will win. I don't think the final will be as exciting as the semis were. The
okay.
Final Four. So we'll see what happens. But maybe it could be. You never know in that championship game. The Utah Jazz lost to the Los Angeles Lakers, which was ridiculous.
But it's the first one in what, 13 games? They won
I
13
don't
of the
care.
last 14.
You need to win these games if you want
Yeah.
a better seed. And they're like shorthanded. It's ridiculous. 113 to 109, they lose. I don't know. You can think what you want about
They
it.
just
but
didn't want it enough.
that's usually the case,
was-
Bill.
yeah, there
Whenever
was-
you lose,
There was a lack of hustle.
That's what I think.
Yes.
their backs were not yet against the wall.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or they didn't dig deep enough. I'm not sure. But that loss has playoff implications. It basically means I also put a story at x96.com about if you really care to break it down, lots of dominoes need to fall. But basically, Utah needs to win out. So if they don't win out and Portland doesn't lose, yeah, don't worry about it. They will start on the road. Let's see. The Warriors rugby team lost to defending MLS defending champion, not MLS, MRS, so Major League Rugby champion Seattle Seawolves, 48-36. They let the fans of the now defunct Salt Lake Stallions come to their game for free.
Oh, really?
So they
We're
had,
sort of like football.
yeah, we're better. I think they're saying like, you're sad, we can cheer you up. Come and watch us lose.
You'll enjoy this.
So
People get hurt. Come on.
and rugby is fun, but if you're a football fan and you go out, you probably don't know the rules, and it
Yeah.
probably was a little baffling. So, but they are. I love the Warriors. If you have the chance to go to a game, and that stadium out there is really fun to watch a game in. But they lost. Seattle. The whole Seattle thing was not good for Utah teams this weekend.
Yeah.
RSL lost to the Seattle Sounders up in Seattle, 1-0. And then, good news, Utah fans, Gina. Utah Gymnastics heading to their record 44th consecutive national championship.
Really?
And they had to be perfect on beam
And they were.
to get there. Nobody could fall. Everybody had to score. I think they had like a .125 lead heading into that.
It's 44 consecutive.
Consecutive championships.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no other team's done that. Other teams have won more championships or had other different accolades, but no team has qualified for nationals 44 consecutive times.
That's amazing.
It really is.
Oh, qualify. They haven't won at 44.
No.
But no,
Oh,
they
that's
have.
what-
They have. But
okay.
like Florida's,
got
they've
you.
they've are a national power. They're not. They're not in the.
Yeah, I got
national
I got you.
championship this year.
I was thinking you meant that they'd won 44 consecutive championships.
So.
All right.
And there's also another good story about Michaela Skinner and her streak that ended in that regional. So go to x96.com and read that. Great
It's all right
women's
there.
sports stories.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy. You can read Amy still.
Yeah, I wrote about the honor code, so it's really controversial. And thank you to all those people who are giving me grief about it.
Why are they giving you grief?
Because, a million or thousands of people have never had trouble with the honor code. Why would somebody have an issue with the honor code because we're perfect. Because if I don't experience it, it can't be true.
Yeah, please stop expressing your opinion. Okay?
Please, or just don't share it with me.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't understand the comment section.
If
I
you
really
have
don't.
something to add. No, these are emails. People who took the time to email.
Oh,
me.
they went that far.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not like this, not constructive comments about the article.
Yeah.
Or the issue.
All right. Thank you, Amy.
Why aren't we all perfect? That was it.
Exactly. Traffic, please.
The only issue, and it's a fairly serious one, vehicle on fire northbound I-15 just north of Center Street in Utah County. Had a couple friends of the program send in that. And that's the only thing being reported on the UDOT website. So one thing, but pretty serious. If you see something and you want to share it with us, you can text it to us 33986.
All right. We'll be back. Round one of your boners, all kinds of things. Emails of interest
Yes.
on the way. It could be yours. But first, Gina, if you wouldn't mind, please talk about your bra for a minute.
I don't mind at all. I'm a convert to Third Love. I've never really thought twice about bras. I mean, I would go to TJ Maxx and I know what size I am, and I'd buy a cheap bra and I'd wear it till it fell apart. And
But if you think about how long you wear them in a day,
yeah.
and every day
Yeah.
for that matter, you should be putting a little bit more thought into it.
I didn't think having a comfortable, supportive bra was a thing. And you can get it at Third Love. You go to thirdlove.com/Gina. That's Gina. That'll give you 15% off your first purchase. We'll just take it right off the top. You don't have to put in another promo code or anything. And then it will direct you to the Fit Finder quiz. It's just a few simple questions. You're going to find your perfect fit. And it's because they have over 70 sizes to choose from. They have a Fit Stylist chat. Like if you want to chat with somebody on the website and have them help you pick out the right bra for you, that's an option. But I don't even think you need that. I think the questions and the quiz get you right where you need to be. Go to thirdlove.com/Gina. That's Gina for 15% off your first purchase. Forced you to think about me yesterday, even when you didn't want to. I entered your consciousness.
You know, you do anyway because you retweet and things so much, and I'm going to have to block your notifications because 90% of the time when my phone goes bing, and that means, you know, somebody that I know has either retweeted or made a comment or something. It's 90%. I'm going to turn the notifications for you off because it's you 90% of the time.
Something I thought you would enjoy.
You know, you said no, but here's what it is. You are an over retweeter. You retweet and retweet and retweet.
If I think somebody would enjoy something, I retweet it. You're welcome.
So yesterday, for example,
Like-
she 4 times.
Yeah, like the Utah Jazz winning the playoff game. Like nobody would know that if you didn't retweet it. It's not necessary. So that's
You tweet the way you tweet, which is not enough, and I will tweet
you
the
know
way
what?
I tweet.
I tweet a lot. I just make sure that almost none of it's directed toward you.
You don't tweet a lot.
I do too.
Bill, for example, 2 times yesterday. 1 for himself and 1 retweet.
Yeah, I tweet plenty. Listen. I'll go through your tweets if you want. You want to see how many things you do.
On Thursday, he did 5 retweets.
Well,
Yeah.
here
I
she
tweet
is,
about
letting
twice as much
everybody
as
know
you.
who won the Real Salt Lake game
Yes.
because that's the only way anybody could find out.
That's not the only reason to tweet something. Perhaps I am happy they won, and
You
I am
retweeted it.
tweeting my support.
You're retweeting it to everybody who already knows.
Not necessarily.
Unless we Utahns are diligent, our taxes will be raised without our knowledge. Did you know that right now there's an organization who thinks they know better than you how to save Utah schools? This group wants to raise your taxes. Wouldn't you agree that's just not right? Well, so does Republican Representative Arthur McCarty from Roadside Table, Utah. He began the group opposed to the suggested 10-cent Jell-O tax. Citizens against People for Alternative Revenue Tax Income believe that not only is the proposed Jell-O tax wrong, it's also cost prohibitive. The state would have to establish a Jell-O commission and then open costly state-run Jell-O stores. Then it's only a matter of time before racketeers would begin smuggling in gelatin from neighboring states. Taxing green gelatin would also place an unfair burden on those people who mostly buy this product. Large LDS families, already on a tight budget, would end up paying for a greater portion of public education than would people with no children at all. And that's just not fair.
Hello, I'm Republican Representative Arthur McCarty. Please call your state legislatures and tell them to vote NO on the green Jell-O tax. It's time to get big government off our backs.
Paid for by Citizens Against People for Alternative Revenue Tax Income.
Gary, Bill, and Gina on X96.
All right, 7:05. We got round one of your boners coming up. Stand by for that. But right now, is this sponsored?
No.
No? You sounded so sad.
No.
Email of interest.
I think I'll save the nice one for last.
Leave us on a high note.
We'll clean up.
So this one I got a couple of weeks ago, and I mentioned it in passing, but then I forgot the email, forgot where I filed it, and but I found it again. It's about the movie Us.
Huh.
And, there have been almost nothing but positive comments about the movie. Just the plot of it, the way it's filmed, and of course the performances, particularly Lupita Nyong'o.
Yep.
However, there's always got to be somebody finding fault. And I got this email, and it says, please be aware of this. Playing 2 roles in Jordan Peele's new horror film, Us, Lupita Nyong'o used a disability to create the creepy voice for her character. I was inspired, this is Lupita Nyong'o, I was inspired by the condition called spasmodic dysphonia, she said in an interview. It creates the spasming in your vocal cords that leads to an irregular flow of air. Well, Respectability, a national nonprofit organization fighting stigmas and advancing opportunities for people with disabilities, says this is not good. She is demonizing the disability of spasmodic dysphonia. There are a lot of people who suffer from this condition, and she should not. This is wrong for her to do.
You know, not to give anything away from the movie, but there is an argument to be made that that character is the hero of the movie.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And it also explains why she talks that way.
Yeah. But it says here, she, by doing this, she's stereotyping people who have this.
I think they haven't seen the movie.
I think they've gone a little too far.
I think they read a story where she said, "This is what I modeled it on."
They read the quote, yeah.
And they haven't seen the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I think. Now, this email of interest. Hi, Bill. I am an out-of-state friend of the program. Since the show doesn't work in Utah, I'm limited to listening to you on podcast. People remember that so well.
Well, this show will never work outside of Utah.
There was a chance at one point that the Radio from Hell show would be syndicated and perhaps broadcast on various stations around the country, but our management at the time never really went for it because they said, no, your show wouldn't work outside of Utah. Nobody would be interested in it outside of Utah. Once again, the forward-thinking and visionaries that used to own this radio station.
And I remember looking at them going, don't you want to make some money?
Yeah.
Let's all make some money.
And haven't you ever listened to syndicated shows?
Yes.
But at any rate, back to the email of interest.
Right.
The show wouldn't work out of Utah. I'm limited to the podcast. Last week, you reported a story about a man who was found dead in his car in Immigration Canyon. And I remembered that, and it was just a little blurb about it, and I haven't seen a follow-up to it. It says, although I in no way fault you for reporting the story as it is written, I feel like this man deserves more than a generic story that was put out.
Oh.
I knew this man.
Oh.
He had a name. Now, he says, he gives me the first name of the guy. He says, but if you don't want to share that, I understand.
If the first name wouldn't,
Sure.
if you don't give the last name.
Yeah, okay. He said his name, well, I don't know. I knew this man, his name was such and such. I met him in preschool and considered him to be a close friend of mine ever since. He was a beautiful person. He was a kind, loving person who was always willing to drop everything to help a friend. He was very active in the LGBTQ community and actively worked with the Utah AIDS Foundation. He was loved by everyone who knew him. I loved him dearly, and I wish I had had the chance to hug him and tell him one more time that I loved him. The world is a darker place for him not being there. I can only hope that the people that knew him best will remember him as he was. You know, it just dawned on me who it is, too, I think. I have the first name here. And I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to look into the story a little more and see if they've followed up on it and what the situation was. Did we report at the time? I don't remember specifically whether they considered it a death as a result of suicide.
They weren't sure. They thought that could be possible, but they weren't. It could have just been an accident that he was trying to stay warm and.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, didn't he cover his car with a tarp?
And there was some charcoal burning in the back of the car.
In the trunk.
Yeah, that's right. But I haven't seen a follow-up on it. But it makes me think about other stories that we do, and particularly local stories. And that story I did in the first news about the woman walking around barefoot, drinking mouthwash, and said she wanted to smoke a bowl. Her name was in the story.
And you left it out.
And I left it out. And because it makes me think about it sometimes, particularly local stories, we're talking about a lot of times about people that other people know and love.
Always.
Well, usually. I mean, there are a few people out there that nobody loves and nobody really wants to know. But
the only follow-up to that, it says police identify body found in car near the top of Immigration Canyon, but they don't give the name. Like the police said, we know who it is, but
they didn't
it
give the
wasn't
name.
published.
It wasn't published.
Yeah. So anyway, and then finally this email of interest. On a lighter note, Bill, I don't know if this constitutes an email of interest. Well, John, it did to me. But we made your recommended tuna casserole for dinner tonight, and the entire family loved it.
This the Greek one?
Yeah, I published the recipe with it's a tuna casserole with potatoes and noodles and onions and all kinds of stuff. He said, we loved it. My 13-year-old daughter came back for thirds, and she rarely does that on a new dish. She will make 3 trips for steak, Gina, but that's about it. But this one, she came back for thirds. As we plan our weekly meals, we always try to find at least one new dish. We will put this one in our rotation for sure.
You should publish your recipes more often. People are...
Yeah, I mean, they're not my recipes. That was a recipe from somebody, where I saw it. But yeah, I mean, I'll
You
do
often
that.
talk about what you make for dinner, and people are curious about it.
Yeah, I'll do that more often.
Okay.
I can tell you about my dinner disaster. I'll tell you about that later.
Emails. Oh, interest. All right, there we go.
Crash south on I-15 at 21st South, the on-ramp in Salt Lake, right shoulder being affected there. Multi-vehicle crash with a car on fire. I'm sure they have it out by now because that's been about a half hour. I mean, I hope they do.
Yeah.
Northbound I-15, just north of Center Street in Orem. Savor every moment at the Melting Pot in Salt Lake, the corner of Market and Main Street. Come experience the Melting Pot before or after your favorite show or game. For reservations, visit themeltingpotsaltlakecity.com.
Boners round 1 coming up. Here are your candidates. Boner candidate number 1. I am a gangbanger and an amateur historian. Boner candidate number 2. Getting your money's worth from R. Kelly. And boner candidate number 3. This chip thing was the final straw.
All right, round 1 of your boners, big boy news, opinioendo, all coming up after these. UtahAdvocates.com is the website, and you can go there and 24/7. They have the live chat feature, so you can anonymously talk to an attorney.
Because you get in an accident, just not 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. It
kidding.
happens overnight
Yeah.
sometimes.
So, you got to be careful out there. Now there are a lot of traffic barrels going up and traffic situations, and particularly at night, that can be pretty dangerous. And if you get into an accident, the advocates want to hear from you. They're personal injury attorneys, and they will take your information on the phone, and the number is 801-355-5550, or you can go to their website, utahadvocates.com, and there's a chat feature there. You can do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They can pretty well determine, just by talking to you and asking you some questions, whether or not you have a case. And if they say, yeah, it sounds like this is something we can help you with, please come into the office. They don't charge you any money for any of that unless they get you a settlement. Or they may say, it's not quite what we handle. They may recommend you to another law firm. They've done that before.
Oh, yeah.
Or they may say, why don't you just sit down and be quiet? You don't have a case. So it's the advocates, 801-355-5550 or utahadvocates.com. So anyway.
Kerry walked in and he said, "You're walking like some of your..."
You're walking like somebody who had their guts ripped out.
You're walking like your insides are all wrong.
Because she was doing this.
Yeah.
And I started to tell Kerry, and then I said, "Wait, I'll tell you on the radio." What you should never do is go on message boards about surgery.
You should never go on message boards about anything. I don't care if it's the Incredible Hulk or surgery.
Well,
you just don't.
You know what you should do?
Yeah.
But you're curious, you want to hear what other people's experiences are and what their recovery is, and
what happened?
And well, before the surgery, I went on a message board, and somebody was asking the question, well, what fills in the hole where they take out what they take out? And
there's a hole there.
Well, the response was...
Well, now,
the response was...
The uterus is what we're talking about.
Yes.
And Gina's uterus weighed 43 pounds, which is
amazing.
It was the size of a medicine ball.
It was prize winning.
I'm a size 2 now because no, but they remove it, and the way the person in the message board explained it is, well, it's picture just having a big bowl of spaghetti and just taking a big scoop out of the bowl of spaghetti. It just kind of fills in where the hole is.
But that just takes a second.
Like spaghetti.
Kind of goopy.
You just watch the spaghetti fill in. It just takes a second.
Like biscotti.
So this is what I'm picturing my insides are like, a big bowl
Is
of
biscotti. Well, they're
bowl of
very much
spaghetti.
like that. Yeah. You know, surgeons train on spaghetti. Yeah, you didn't know that?
They do meatball.
They do.
Delicious,
removal.
delicious marinara sauce.
That's why there's so many
And
fat
then-
doctors.
And then they all have lunch. Well, we've trained on the spaghetti. Let's eat it.
Yeah.
This is what I'm picturing when they're wheeling me into
And
surgery.
and you know what they did with your uterus?
Lunch.
Spaghetti.
There's lunch. Who brought the marinara?
And so also on the message board you look at, what's recovery like for this?
Well, I'm sure it's different for everyone.
Exactly.
And-
Oh, no.
There's no.
I'm sure it's speedy and efficient.
It's different for everyone, but the worst one will be
on the message
what
board.
Gina has.
Well, I mean, it can't be the worst because I'm back to work now.
There will be people. There have to be people on the message boards who say, "Oh, I was cleaning my house 3
The
days
next
later.
day, yeah, there's that.
Why I ran a marathon.
Right. and then there's it's been 3 months and I still feel like crap, and usually the truth is somewhere in between.
Can we use the term vaginal prolapse in any? I don't know. Is that do we need to use that term?
We shouldn't.
Somebody's posted it. I don't think we
That's
should.
the thing that happens to the women that have 15 babies.
Oh.
And
Ooh.
That
the
doesn't
uterus climbs out on its own.
That ain't no damn good.
That's what that is.
That's
So-
where that needs to be fixed.
But it's nice to be back. I missed you guys.
Data rates apply.
All right, remember that. All that info you're going to need here in about 15 minutes or so to vote for round 1 of your boners. Presenting to you now 3 news stories. These are examples of bad, stupid, or funny human behavior. Keeping in mind boner means mistake. You'll let them slide into your ear hole. You'll shake them around for a bit inside your head.
I don't want anything sliding into my ear hole.
And then decide which one of these 3 is the worst. Which one deserves to go forward to boner fight and possibly become boner of the day. If it wins here, it's secured a place in the final battle. It'll have to defeat the winner of round 2's voting. That happens at 8:20 with 3 more candidates. We'll take the winner of each round and throw them both into Boner Dome at 9:20. That is when you actually decide boner of the day. Right now, you're picking the champion of round 1. 2 candidates now, a third after the news. Once you've heard all 3, then you will vote, and one of you lucky random boner voters will receive.
You're going to be tired this week, Bill.
Why is that?
Well, people left and right are going to be approaching you.
It already
Hand
happened.
outstretched.
Yeah, it already happened this morning right out there in our lot from some guy I didn't know. So give me a hearty handshake.
That was Chase. He's our
Who?
intern. Chase, he's right there. Been here for weeks.
I can't see him. My back's to him.
A hearty handshake is your prize.
All right. So we have boner candidate number 1. I'm a gangbanger and something of an amateur historian. If there's one thing that let me do it this way. The latest victim of the internet making fun is a self-proclaimed gangster named Amador Carlos Martinez. He was recently pulled over by Fresno police, and he was arrested for possession of a firearm. There's Mr. Martinez at x96.com/live. I would have hoped you would chosen the picture of what he was carrying with him. He had a gun under the seat of his car, but what made the gun unique is the type of gun that Mr. Martinez had on him. It was a Remington model 1858 black powder revolver. That is...
That's like...
It's a historical antique.
It's one of those dueling pistols.
Yeah.
Maybe he had a duel to go to.
Mr. Martinez said that he was a member of the self-admitted ruthless thug life Fresno Bulldog criminal street gang.
Well, they need to shorten their name.
And he said, I have a loaded .44 Magnum under the driver's seat. But when they got the gun out, it was this antique, in beautiful shape, by the way, black powder revolver.
So which he probably stole from.
I don't know. Maybe he's an enthusiast.
Well, it was a beautiful antique.
As I said in the title, Gina, I am a gangbanger, but I'm also an amateur historian.
Okay.
Boner candidate number 1. Here's boner candidate number 2. Getting your money's worth from R. Kelly. R. Kelly charged fans $100.
He still has fans?
Oh, yes. For a 28-second long performance.
Wow.
Yep, fans doled out $100 to see the singer perform at a club in Springfield, Illinois, only to be treated to approximately 28 seconds worth of music just hours after the I Believe I Can Fly singer asked media to take it easy on him.
Let's see, Carrie, run a timer. Let's see how long it takes to...
Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't you wait till I stop talking before you ask him to do that, okay? Could you do that?
Okay.
The embattled R&B singer shared a video on Instagram before the performance on Sunday at the Dirty South Lounge in which he called out the media and informed them that he needs to perform to make money amid his sexual abuse case. So $100 for this. Have you got it?
Oh, no. I'm just starting a timer.
Oh. Anyway, Kelly spent 35 minutes thanking fans for their support, taking selfies, dancing and smoking cigars, and then got onto a microphone and sang for 28 seconds. But as he left, those people who paid $100, many of them still said, we support R. Kelly, we love him. And they were happy to give up their $100. Getting their money's worth from R. Kelly, boner candidate number 2. And it's the fans and R. Kelly for... Coming up in a moment, boner candidate number 3. This chip thing was the final straw.
All right, boner candidate number 3 for round 1. Right after this here, Big Boy News and Opinioendo, brought to you by.
Not today.
Who do we talk to?
You can plan.
This is fine. This is for planning purposes.
You can plan to go to Feldman's Deli tomorrow.
Yeah. This is just getting your appetite going.
Want real half-pound New York corned beef or pastrami sandwiches, Reuben's matzo ball soup, latkes, real bagels. Feldman's Deli is Utah's authentic Jewish deli, located at 20th East, 27th South. Open Tuesday through Saturday for breakfast and lunch, Thursday through Saturday for dinner, music on Friday and Saturday nights. Everyone meets at Feldman's. Go to feldmansdeli.com.
Tragedy. He was one of a kind, an original. He will be missed. As a matter of fact, Lyle Tuttle is very well known in certain circles, and I tweeted emailed rather a copy of this story in the New York Times obituaries to our friend Sergio, the tattoo artist.
Oh, yeah?
Because Lyle Tuttle is a tattoo artist who found his international fame by catering to celebrities while helping move tattooing, as he put it, from the back alley into mainstream acceptability. He died March 26th at his home in Ukiah, California, where he had grown up. He was 87 years old, covered in tattoos himself. Danielle Biardi, the curator and manager of the Lyle Tuttle Collection, said Mr. Tuttle had been in hospice care after an inoperable growth was discovered in his throat 2 weeks before he died. These days, as we all know, tattoos are very common. Well, Lyle Tuttle is one of the people responsible for making them more acceptable in mainstream society.
So he ruined it for everybody. He made it popular.
He was always fascinated with tattoos as a kid, and back when he was a kid, the only people tattooed were sailors and criminals, pretty much. but his first tattoo he got when he was 14, and it was a heart that said "mother" on it. I don't know if he still had that tattoo at 87, but that's when he got his first one. And I believe Sergio, as I recall, has Lyle Tuttle's autograph tattooed on his arm. You know, he got the autograph, and he had it transferred to his arm. So tattoo artists really revered Lyle Tuttle. Also, one of a kind and original, he will be missed. Charles Sana has died. He was the creator of Swiss Miss Cocoa. Swiss Miss Instant Cocoa with mini marshmallows.
So Utah owes him a debt.
Was that the first instant cocoa? Is that why that was a...
He developed a way to produce millions of individual packets of powdered coffee creamer for American troops. That was his first job. He helped win the Korean War by doing that, they say. Military contract stipulated, though, that his family's company, Sana Dairy Engineers, would be penalized if the orders were underfilled. So to be safe, the company produced extra packets, but that meant when the war was over, they had all of this extra powder, milk powder. What to do? Maybe we mix it with, he was the first.
Put some cocoa in there.
Yeah, and have Swiss Miss Instant Cocoa. I don't think he foresaw the mini marshmallow.
How could you?
Yeah.
How could you foresee?
I know.
The tiny dehydrated...
Only a true visionary would.
I used to love that stuff.
It was all we had.
And those mini marshmallows. I know.
I just eat it dry. I never mixed it up.
I have done that, as a matter of fact. Kind of dries your mouth out.
Yep.
Don Lemon, CNN, longtime CNN reporter.
Is he okay?
Host. Well, he's announced that he's engaged.
Oh, okay. Well, it's just 2 deaths in a row. I was getting concerned.
No, he's engaged to his longtime boyfriend, Tim Malone. And, they're going to tie the knot. So the LDS General Conference, that is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which I think, as I recall, used to be called the Mormon Church.